were eyewitnesses and ministers of the word, it seemed good to me also, having a perfect understanding of all things from the very first, to write unto thee in order, most excellent Theophilus, that thou mightest know the sincerity, the certainty actually, of those things wherein thou hast been instructed. That thou mightest know the certainty of those things wherein thou hast been instructed, as it read. My subject is titled, The Certainty of Things. And I'll also ask you to read 2 Peter 1, 16 and 17 when you get a chance at home, which says virtually the same thing. Now, I'm only going to talk about three things, so you don't have to worry about a long sermon, okay? I hope. So, now they're the three things that separate you from the rest of the Christian church, amen? Amen. And you ought to know this. Most of you that were baptized into the Adventist faith came from another denomination. I was born into Catholicism. Here's an example. So, why in the world did you do it? All right? This is why I came today to tell you, talk about it. After all these years, you're going to understand what you did. Well, the thing about, for me, that was different about the message was Adventist preaching. You see, number one is their teaching on the judgment. I'm going to review that. And if you were at the Revelation seminar, we would have gotten a really good dose of it, and we were blessed. Amen? The other thing that is different about us is the second coming of Christ. And that's a biggie. And the third one has to do with the Ten Commandments. Whatever happened to the Ten Commandments? If we can settle those three questions, you can settle down in the Adventist church. Because the rest of the folks have to play catch up with that. And if they don't, they won't like where they end up when he comes again. And the only ones that are going to get to heaven without an understanding of these three things is the one that doesn't know any better, but is sincerely living up to all that they know. Now, God has always made an exception for ignorance. But personally, I don't want nobody to call me ignorant, so that's why we study to show ourselves approved. Amen? Amen. One of the functions, and I know you realize it now since you've been in the faith, is to remedy the ignorance of the religious world. Okay, about these three things. And I figure I'd do us a favor and talk about them right now, okay? So let's deal with number one, and it's the judgment. You know what's so great about the judgment? If you thought about, okay, take for instance, I'm talking to the fellas now. You thought about it, if you thought about the judgment before you went to go visit that other woman that wasn't your wife, you forgot you had a wife. And if before, and now I'm talking to the sisters, you said a weak yes to the man that wasn't your husband, and you know about that thing called fornication, and they go into it. If you thought about what was happening right now, while you were doing your dirt, whatever, fornication, murder, stealing, you would freeze. Now Now this is serious. This is not baby talk. Milk stage has passed. Here's another text that we learned in the 5-week program. Revelations 11, 18, and 19 says basically, and the temple of God was opened in heaven, and was seen in his temple the Ark of the Testament. Let's read Revelations 11. And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead that they should be judged, and that they shouldest give rewards unto the servants, the prophets, and the saints, and them that fear thy name, small and great, and should destroy them which destroy the earth. We'll come back to that. The temple of God was opened in heaven, and there was seen in his temple the ark of his testament. And there were lightning and voices and thundering, an earthquake and great hail. And the temple of God was opened in heaven, and was seen in his temple the ark of the testament. This is judgment talk here. You catching it, right? Amen. This is a description of the judgment. If you thought about it before, like I said, the dirt. If somebody who was on controlled substance, before they plunged that needle into their body, it might give you a reason to pause and find the Seventh-day Adventist Church, because they're the only ones that are talking about this. The only people. All the other people, we're talking about the judgment. All the other denominations are talking about this. The judgment is way down the line. So they have time to sin. But somebody messed that lie up. It was at a tent revival or some Bible study, and you found out the hour of his judgment has come. You know, the judgment is going on right now as we're sitting in this room. It's not going to happen way down the line. The hour of his judgment has come. Revelations 11:18 reads, tell you that the time of the dead, they should be judged. And the rewards for his servants, the prophets, going on right now. And if members of the church would tighten up certain things, that's if we believe that. If deep down in your soul you believe, all right, let me pause there. Okay, what does it say? It says the judgment was set and the books were open. If you thought about them open books, you would freeze and not enjoy that next affair. In fact, you're getting a little sober right now. And that's what preaching does. It gives you, it wakes you up so that maybe you could throw away some of those things in the garbage can and walk closer to him. You know, while the books have been open since 1844, we did some math the other day. You're the only Christians that know this. You even got the arithmetic at home in your books. We had some nice diagrams that pointed out. When was the last time you looked at